What's up, guys? Max's New York Jets here. Welcome to our 5th episode of our live stream of the Nad Max Show, everyone. Congratulations. We are 75 subscribers. If you guys want to subscribe to the show, Max's New York Jets is a YouTube show, or the Mad Max Show. Might be just renaming my channel. So today there's a couple of topics. There's some topics we'll talk about. We'll answer your chats, and then anyone who wants to call in, I pinned the StreamYard link. So here's some new NFL news. So the playoffs happen on Saturday, Sunday. Here are my takeaways from the game. So this is really exciting. This is it was the most exciting playoffs I've ever seen. Every game went down to the wire. The Bears. I was watching the Panthers Rams game went down to the wire. Rams won on the last second touchdown, 34-31. Then I was watching the Bears Packers game. I have family in Chicago, so that was very exciting. The Bears were down 21-0 at halftime, and then they stormed all the way back. Came all the way back, and then they won 31-27. Packers did the most meltdown. Sunday, I was watching Bills-Jags game. Actually, I'm thankful to meet all the wonderful Asmaniacs at the Asmaniac watch party in New York City. Bills-Jags, maybe you guys were maybe upset over the results. You guys wanted the Jags to win. I didn't care the Bills won. I helped my bracket, and then the 49ers beat the Eagles. I had the 49ers in the bracket. So, and then the only thing is that the Patriots sold my bet. The Patriots sold really bad the bet. So really it's really been bad. But so far the playoffs aren't doing well. Right now the Steelers and Texans are playing. Right now the Steelers are up 3-0 as the Texans. I had the Texans winning tonight in my playoff bracket. Let's see. The offense right now for the Texans aren't playing good, but really it's good though. And then Jets news. So there's a lot of coaching candidates on the market. So John Harbaugh's on the market. John Harbaugh recently got fired from the Ravens. Stefanski's getting fired from the Browns. And I don't understand why Woody Johnson. I heard there's a report from Diana Rossini that Woody Johnson was really unhappy about the state of the Jets, about the last 5 games. Why don't you fire Glenn then? Because I don't know why. Granted, I think Aaron Glenn's back another year. We just have to suck it up, guys. But there really are fixes. Eli Betts in the super chat says, "How are we going to fix the Jets? Simple. We got to fire some position coaches. Charles London needs to be fired. He's terrible. Look at his qualifications. We got to fire Charles London because he's terrible. Look at his look at his look at his qualifications really, because he was graduate assistant at Duke, then in Duke from 2006 he's a running backs coach, offensive quality control coach, Tennessee Titans offensive assistant, Penn State running backs coach, Houston Texans running back coach, Chicago Bears running backs coach. Then recently in 2021 he's coached quarterbacks. So really in a couple of years, the only really successful quarterback he's coached really is Malik Willis on the Titans. But really, I think first of all you got to fire Charles London. You have to hire someone who has the experience of quarterback. My candidate that I really want is Jordan Palmer. He can coach all these quarterbacks up. And then recently on Jets news, we got a new defensive coordinator. There's a defensive coordinator search. The Jets recently we're interviewing Deontay Jones as our defensive coordinator, but really, I don't think we're doing a good job so far, interviewing defensive coordinators. I mean, I think there could be a couple of good defensive coordinator hires we can get, whether it's Al Harris or Leonard. But really, I don't know with defensive coordinators. I don't know if we're gonna get a really experienced defensive coordinator because Aaron Glenn right now is on the hot seat. Woody Johnson appears unhappy. If we start 0-5, 0-6 next year, Aaron Glenn's definitely gonna be fired. But really, there needs to be fixes. We need to improve the defense. Also breaking Jets news: the Indiana and Oregon play in the Rose Bowl. Dante Moore and Mendoza looked really good. He had 4 touchdowns, and then Dante Moore didn't really look that good. He needs a lot more polishing. If I was the Jets, if I was the general manager, and we have to make a decision on Dante Moore, I think we should not draft number 2, in my opinion, because he needs a lot of seasoning and development. I think we need to go best player available, whether it's Sonny Styles we can either go Sonny Styles with the Colts pick or just go Ruben Bain or like I think BPA is like or trade down from 2 and get like a haul. But right now the quarterback class doesn't look good. I feel like the Raiders are locked into Mendoza unless, but it always is the Raiders, so they can always be stupid and we can get Mendoza. But Eli Betts with chat says, what does it tell you at the state of Jets that Jim Leonard possibly hosting for DC job hasn't been granted interview? I just think it shows like not a lot of defensive coordinators want to be taking the job because Aaron Glenn's really on the hot seat. That's just really my thoughts on it because Aaron Glenn right now is on the hot seat. You know, right now, like in 2026, Aaron Glenn is odds is like number 1 on the hot seat list. He's like might be the first coach to be fired if he doesn't turn around. Like it's in historic ineptitude. I was on Jake Asman's show earlier, and Jeff Johnny was trying to defend Glenn. Because we have the top 10 rushing offense. Like really? You know why it was a top 10 rushing offense? Because it was half the stats rushing guys are garbage time stats, honestly. I think it's garbage time because a lot of the teams just chew out the clock, you know. They're up, I don't know, like 30-0, and they just chew out the clock. So I feel like a lot of it is like they're up by so much that, you know, they just chew out the clock. Nate Jess is like, did Jake Asman tell you to block me and not read my chats? No. Come on, I read everyone's chat. First caller up today on the show is Ricky, New York Jets Live. What's up, Ricky? How you doing?
What's happening, Max?
What's up? So let's talk about some. What are your Jets takes for the day? What's your Jets takes?
Aaron Glenn is not on the hot seat. That's a vicious rumor spread by a red-haired guy on YouTube. It's not true. He's not on the hot seat. He's fine. Never listen to anything Diana Rossini says anyway. She takes a shot at the Jets every chance she gets. Listen, I like Al Harris for a defensive coordinator. You know, it'll be interesting to see who they hire. The main thing is they got to get these hires right. But I have faith. They'll get things turned around.
They're going so far with like the defensive coordinator. Who did they interview? I know that they interviewed the Vikings guy for DC for a DC job.
Yeah, there's him. There's supposedly mutual interest between them and Wink Martindale. So
I think Martindale could be a good option. He was a good DC when the Giants was there, and he was a good defensive coordinator when he was on the Ravens. And like, let's say Glenn gets fired, Martindale can be assistant coach. I don't understand why Martindale has not gotten head coaching jobs. I don't understand why. His defenses are good.
Me personally, if it was me, I would want Al Harris. Like when he got to Dallas, their secondary was playing fucking terribly. By the time he left, those guys had all-pro seasons. Diggs and the other guy, and then he went to Chicago, and he took their secondary from being terrible to being really good. And they even gave him an assistant head coaching gig there. So, and years ago, I actually met him, and he was with the Eagles then, but when he was still playing. But that was like before he was in Green Bay. So I'm like a big fan of Al Harris. If I could have anybody, that would probably be my pick.
I think Al Harris is good because, you know, like especially on the Cowboys, their secondary is horrible. And then the Bears are with the most interceptions in the league. The Jets right now have the most inept defense for the first time since 1933. There hasn't been a zero interceptions. Since interceptions became a stat, the Jets are the first defense ever to have zero interceptions. So I feel like Harris could be a good option. But I don't know if he wants to come with how crappy situation is with Aaron Glenn. You know, he might be the first coach fired. He's like number 1 right now on the hot seat. And if like his record's like, I don't know, if we start 0-5 or 0-6, Woody Johnson might make the decision to fire Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, if we would have to be really fucking bad again next year in order for him to get canned. But I'm not worried about that. I think too many people are wasting their time talking about, you know, fire Aaron Glenn. Like, ironically, most of the people that you hear yelling the loudest to fire Aaron Glenn are people that never wanted Aaron Glenn to begin with. And it's like they're mad they didn't get their way, and so now they're just pouting over it. And granted, the crappy season that he had just adds fuel to that fire. But yeah, I'm sorry. I was a Glenn guy from the beginning. Uh, all these people that are like, oh, we should have got Vrabel. Dude, Vrabel is a lifelong Patriot who's gone on record many times as hating the Jets. A guy that said something bad about the Jets every chance he got for years, and that's who you would rather have rather than one of our own. Uh, it's just ridiculous. Vrabel just ended up in a situation where he had a decent roster, and most importantly, they had the quarterback in place. We've got to get this quarterback situation settled. And yes, I saw they signed Bailey Zappi for a futures deal. Fucking that does not do anything to excite me.
Zappi's not good. Zappi's not good.
Not.
I mean, for me, like personally, like I mean, I want like my first option before really getting Aaron Glenn was I wanted the Jets to get Ben Johnson. I was just disappointed with it, and I'm like, I don't know if Ben Johnson would have ever came here because you know what, he was going to take every head coaching job. But my number one candidate was Ben Johnson because his offenses in Detroit were like creative. This is when the Jets fired Saleh. Like Ben Johnson was like my number one candidate. Like, but then I was like, saw the Aaron Glenn hire. I was like, you know what, this is not a bad hire. I didn't think it was that bad of a hire. It's just like the red flags I've noticed like with Aaron Glenn's like with the timeout decision in Denver, like really was a bit like I think week 2 is when I saw the first red flags. Like we didn't play competitive, but
okay. Well, listen, like people can say things about like Aaron Glenn with the timeouts, clock management, whatever. Everybody wants Harbaugh. That's the hot name. Did you see the other Harbaugh last night? They finally get the Patriots on the fucking ropes. And what do? They take 40 seconds off the clock, allow the Patriots to fucking substitute players, and end up taking a fucking sack after it. Like, and that's in a playoff game with like less than 4 minutes to go. That was absolutely atrocious fucking coaching. And that's one of the Harbaughs. So
as Jen,
Harbaugh's just a name. I'm not worried about it. I think we have the right coach, but our quarterback situation was so bad that it made it impossible to evaluate what we had on offense at all. You couldn't evaluate receivers. It hurt the running game. Like there were even people throughout the year that were saying like our offensive line doesn't look that good. It's overrated. Dude, like you can't expect those guys to block forever when our quarterbacks just sit back there and hold the ball. Like
I agree. I think our quarterback play is terrible, but there are red flags already with Aaron Glenn. You know what? The last 5 games, like December was the worst stretch in franchise history. All 5 of their games, they lost by 20 plus points. It was like, and I'm like, is it just? I understand our quarterback play is crap, but a lot of the coaches right now in the NFL are. Aaron Glenn said 2 weeks ago, "Oh, it's not about the X's and O's, buddy." Yes, it's about the X's and O's, especially in today's NFL, where all the top coaches in the NFL, playoff coaches, are like big offensive strategists. Like, really, I'm not saying Rowler doesn't work, but I mean, we do need to figure out the quarterback situation in April. But that's why I'm like open to drafting any quarterback, whether it's Diego Pavia. Pavia could be like a good quarterback. He's turned around crappy programs like Vanderbilt and New Mexico State. Like, I don't think there's a perfect prospect, but I think Pavia is like a better prospect than a lot of the other quarterbacks. And I'm drafting like in the 2nd round or 3rd.
I don't know. I don't know that his personality would be a good fit with us. I don't know. If we don't take a quarterback early, it'll be really, really curious to see what they end up doing. I'm not really a big fan of a lot of the quarterbacks like beyond the top couple, so I don't know. Mine, Eli.
Eli, that's in the chat, right? Max and Ricky, what are your dream scenarios for the draft?
Mine would be that the Raiders do like a Raider type thing, and they go ahead and take Moore first and leave Mendoza for us. That would be my dream scenario.
That'd be my dream scenario as well, because you know what, the Raiders do a Raider thing, draft Moore for upside, and then we get Mendoza, or like let's say Cornell Tate falls in the draft to the Colts pick. I think Cornell Tate could be a good receiver.
There's no way he falls all the way to like 16. No way. I would love that, or in like some weird bizarro fucking world, David Bailey falls to 16. Like it would be, if one of those two players fell that far, I would definitely take them. Which Carnell Tate, it's not going to happen. Bailey, I would love it if it happened. Now, Derwin James fell all the way to 17 when he came out in the draft, but he's a safety, and safeties typically don't get drafted high, but pass rushers do. And but I don't know. Beyond the top pick, I'm still kind of formulating what my perfect draft would be. Originally, it would be like taking Sonny Styles early. I don't think Styles is going to end up lasting until 16. I definitely want a linebacker. I definitely want a safety, but it all kind of depends. And it's going to depend what we do in free agency too. Like my perfect scenario is we get like Malik Willis and Romeo Dobbs in free agency, make it to where we don't have to draft a receiver early, and then we can get our quarterback and load up on the defense. Like that's right now, that would be my plan, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to sit down tonight and watch a couple of games of linebacker from Missouri, Josiah Trotter, who's the younger brother and the son of Jeremiah Trotter, the Eagles guy. So I'm going to watch some film on him tonight, and who knows, maybe that could be a possibility for us in this upcoming draft. So I got a bunch of linebackers to watch this week. So all I know is we definitely need a linebacker, we definitely need a safety, and we definitely need some pass rush help. I'll tell you what I don't want to do in the draft. I do not want to draft a corner, and I do not want to draft a defensive tackle. All the mocks that I see where people are like, oh, they got to get somebody to replace, Quinnen or Sauce or whatever. Like, they were confident in AZ being able to step up and maybe not be Sauce, but take over that role. And likewise, Juwan Briggs, like, I know that, his sack numbers weren't through the roof, but he didn't play every game, first of all. Second of all, like, his pressure win rate was ranked 4th in the entire NFL, with only Ed Oliver and a couple other guys that were ahead of him. You know who was not ahead of him? Quinnen Williams. So, like, to me, if you draft a defensive tackle or a corner early, you're admitting that you made a mistake trading those two guys away. I don't think we made a mistake trading those guys away. And so I'm kind of still, up in the air about what exactly I want them to do, but I know I don't want them to do that.
I agree with you on that. Like, I don't also like not taking defense the first 2 picks. Like, disgusting. Like, why would you take defense? Like, we need more offense and defense. Like, granted, our defense is not good, but we do not need to take defense with both our first round picks. Like, if that was me, I'm not saying we shouldn't draft defense at all. I think we should draft an offensive player in the first round, whether it's like a receiver like Carnell Tate, or we should draft a quarterback or something, because quarterback's like the number one most neat position in the Jets right now, because Justin Fields is terrible. Our backup quarterback, Brady Cook, I don't think he's going to make the 3rd string. I don't think he's still going to be our 3rd string. He's terrible. And then Cook was horrible, especially in the last couple of games. He was terrible.
He was awful. But you know what? At that point, we were tanking. The fact that they didn't play Stevens or Brees in that last game, and, like, people want to make a big deal like, oh, our last few games we got blown out by, X amount of points, and it was historically bad. That's true. But if you're really tanking and you're not trying to win games, like, does it really matter how much you lose by if you were trying to lose the game anyway?
That's true.
But the other thing is that people don't talk about, Brownlee was hurt. A.Z. Thomas was hurt. That's 2 of your 3 starting corners. Will McDonald was hurt. There's one of your best pass rushers. And if you look at it, like, people would always say, like, oh, the Jets were bad against the run historically, whatever. Dude, we got beat by all those points because teams didn't even have to run the ball on us. They could just throw it all day, and we could not stop them at all. And so missing two of your, three starting corners and your best pass rusher, it it just exaggerated or aggravated that situation and made it so much worse. So I get it. It was a disappointing end to a disappointing year, but I still have faith, and I think we're in for a big turnaround. Like, there's a lot of guys that are on this roster that need to go. Quincy Williams needs to go. Tony Adams needs to go. Like there's guys that are left over from the Saleh regime that we just need to get rid of.
Tony Adams is we need to get rid of him. Quincy's not good. Sherwood's like the worst Mike linebacker in the NFL. Quincy's underperformed, but really a lot of players were good under Saleh's scheme, but like they're just been terrible. So a lot of it's coaching. Like look at these teams like Jacksonville last year won 4 games with Doug Peterson, suddenly with Liam Cohen, they won 13 games. Really, coaching matters. Like for the Jets, I feel like for the Jets, it's like always, we need multi-bill rebuilds. No, it's not. I mean, really, in the modern NFL, you could turn around a team so fast. I think getting rid of players like Tony Adams and Sherwood would be a good idea. And then, I mean, hopefully, we can still get some of Glenn's guys from the Lions, but I don't know if they want to come here. Considering, like, there are reports that Glenn's like is hard to work with. His personality is very abrasive.
Not a. See, that's I hate that narrative. Like, you can find people that will say things, but there's also plenty of people that are big fans of Glenn. You listen to any of his players from Detroit, anybody that played under him in New Orleans, they all love him. Like, a week ago, Alvin Kamara was on TV doing an interview, and he was talking about different coaches, and without anybody even bringing up the Jets or AG at all, like, all of it, he was talking about different coaches, and then all of a sudden he threw out AG. And he was like, dude, Aaron Glenn, he was like, I believe in Aaron Glenn because I'm a player. I'm in the NFL. I know the process. I've seen the process, and I've seen the process works. Like, people who don't play the game don't understand, but it's a real thing. And so, I think that right there, like, it tells you, like, the players have belief in him. The guys who don't, the guys who aren't bought in, those guys need to go. And I think for a large part, this team is bought in. But, dude, the guys like, Quincy and Adams and the guys that we're talking about that are left over from the Saleh regime, I think those guys have just gotten so used to losing that, like, it somehow doesn't bother them anymore. They're just like, look at it like, oh, it's just another year, and they're still getting paid. What do they care? Like, but that attitude and that mindset, we need to weed out everybody like that. And, as Glenn went through the year this year, I think he's identified where the problems are, and I'm looking forward to this free agency and this draft to see what they do.
So before you go, Ricky, what are some players you want in free agency for the Jets to get? Who do you want to get in free agency?
Well, Travis Jones, the defensive tackle for the Ravens, re-signed, and so did Quentin Lake, the safety from the Rams. So those were like two of my very top guys that I wanted. If we can get a shot to get Tyler Linderbaum, the center from the Ravens, I would absolutely do it. I would pay him whatever the hell he wants. If it's a bidding war, so be it. I would offer him the most of anybody. However, I don't know if he's going to want to come here or not. I have a feeling he's going to want to go to a contender, but money talks at the end of the day, so we'll see. Aside from that, I'm not against like Isaiah Likely. I don't think we're going to pay out big money for a tight end like Pitts, but I wouldn't mind Isaiah Likely. We definitely need to add to the tight end room. Malik Willis for sure, because we absolutely have to have a quarterback. And of the options available, I like him the best. And aside from that, like I said, if we could bring in Romeo Doubs and Willis, the only thing that would make me hesitant to do that is how much money we would have to pay Dobbs, because Garrett's already got a big deal, even though it hasn't kicked in yet. It's going to. And being that we have 3 first rounders in 27, I really, 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 really want Jeremiah Smith, no matter what. And the likelihood of us drafting him early, if we're already paying 2 receivers big money, is very slim. So that would be my one caveat why I would think of like maybe not getting Dobbs. But right off the top of my head, like those are the guys that stand out to me.
I feel like Linderbaum could be a good option as first center. We definitely need center. I think he could be a good upgrade. There's also going to be a decision in the offseason between Simpson and Vera Tucker. I think we should get rid of it. I'm not saying Vera Tucker is a bad player, but Vera Tucker is very like injury prone. We can get Linderbaum off like the cheap. Romeo Dobbs could be a good option. I feel like Malik Willis can be good as like a bridge quarterback.
Yeah,
good. I think it could be a very good bridge until we find our quarterback, and then either in 26, either this draft in the 2026 draft or in the 2027 NFL draft. Because I heard like a 2027 draft is deeper, but they always say this about every draft. Oh, like last year was like, oh my god, the 2026 class is gonna be deeper than the 2025 quarterback class. But really, none of the quarterbacks pan out. So we either have to draft the quarterback this year or next year. Preferably, I do want it this year, but I understand like there's not many good prospects, so maybe 2027 is the better year to draft the quarterback, in my opinion. But I think Malik Willis can be good as a bridge. I think Romeo Dobbs can be good, and then what's that defensive? I don't know if T Higgins. Do you think T Higgins is an option or no?
No, he's still under contract in Cincinnati, so he won't be an option. But yeah, like overall, like the free agent that's the problem is in free agency wide receiver, it's not a great free agent class. A lot of the positions that we need, there just aren't really good options. Cam Curl, the other safety from the Rams, is also a free agent. I would consider bringing him in. But yeah, free agency, like the class doesn't necessarily blow me away. Linderbaum's definitely the biggest name, for the Jets, and I agree. Like Willis would be a good bridge, but there's going to be some competition for him. I think somebody's going to pay him a fairly decent contract based on his performance this year and limited snaps. But
I don't know if the Ravens want to get rid of Linderbaum because like I don't know. I feel like the Ravens are a very smart organization with like keeping players and stuff, so they'll keep like their top players. But it would be a dream if we get Linderbaum. If Linderbaum's on the free agent market.
At this point, if they're going to keep him, they're going to have to tag him because when they refused to pick up his 5th-year option, it pissed him off and created a rift between the two of them. And from what I hear, the relationship has deteriorated. And as far as contract talks, they're supposedly very, very far apart. And at this point, it seems like it's soured to the point where he doesn't care. He's going to try free agency and see what's out there. And the only way they're going to be able to keep him off the market is if they tag him. So, which they could do, but it's going to depend if they've got other players they want to use the tag on. It's going to be interesting. Like ordinarily, a player like that doesn't make it to the market, but we've seen crazier things. So we'll see. Looking forward to it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Sounds good.
I will catch you later, and I got a show tomorrow. Stop by.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ricky, New York Jets on the show. So anyone who doesn't know his channel, subscribe to his channel at Ricky New York Jets. He has a show tomorrow. So we got some more Jets news. So I really do agree with a lot of his points. I think Linderbaum could be a really good option on the market, or Dobbs can be a good option, or Malik Willis is a really good option on the market, quarterback market. But let's see. Let me check the score right after the Texans game. I have the Texans winning this game, but Stroud is 7-6. What's going on there? What's going on this game? Oh wow, CJ Stroud had a touchdown to Christian Kirk. So wow, the Texans hopefully they keep covering for the bet. Honestly, we can still. Eli Batts in the comment in chat says we can still draft a quarterback in the 4th, and chances are we're going to trade one of those first round picks and get a third in the deal. I think we're going to be like trade. I think if we're a quarterback in the draft, I think we're going to be trading back in the draft. That's just really my opinion on it, because there's not really good quarterbacks. Say like Arizona wants to get more. Like let's say like Arizona's going to trade Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray can be a good option for a bridge. You know, he's shown like high level quarterback play. But personally, for me, if I was like a Jets fan, I think Malik Willis is the best bridge because we could sign him for like 1 or 2 years, and then we could draft a quarterback, whether it's Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, Chambliss, or Pavia. Really, there's really a lot of good options in my opinion. Score 6-7. Team Curry, thank you so much. Let's hope I have the Texans winning, but I don't care if the Steelers win. I mean, I liked Rodgers when he was on the Jets. I feel like all these Jets fans are like, I don't know. I see all these Reddit posts. Oh my God. People are just so delusional about Aaron Rodgers. Like, oh my God. People are like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is a problem last year. Oh, he only gets because he's like trying to get his players. Bro, Aaron Rodgers was the best Jets quarterback we had the last 25 years. I wasn't on YouTube. Like, I was on a hiatus on YouTuber. I was like on hiatus for a little bit, but oh my God. Nate, you can be the moderator. Next, we're gonna ban user. You're banned. You need a moderator grid. Eli Batts is like I totally agree. We need a quarterback. We're gonna be bad next season though. We're probably gonna be to be in a good spot to draft a quarterback 2027. I agreed. Johnny Boy in the chat says Glenn is going to shock the world. Forza Glenn. Honestly, Johnny, let's see. You're going to be Mr. Aaron Glenn defender, Mr. Aaron Glenn bootlicker, honestly. Look at him. He's just, let's just defend Glenn. I mean, let's hope he turns around, Johnny. I mean, maybe if he makes the playoffs next year because of your, but I highly doubt it. But honestly, Johnny, I like your belief in Aaron Glenn, but I really don't have belief in him. But another sporting news, the Islanders won yesterday 4-3. And, the Knicks had a really good win. I feel like the Knicks can go deep in the playoffs, in my opinion. Like, the Knicks, I mean, look at the rotation. Under Thibodeau, like, they really didn't have, like, much of a rotation in the offseason. But now Mike Brown, they have a lot more rotations. There's, like, a 6-man. I can't remember the player's name. If anyone's typing in the chat, I'm not, like, a big basketball fan, but, like, type in the name of the chat. Like, I know there's, like, some 6-man. It was, like, Oscar Grab says, Max, your channel's going to blow up, bro. I'm proud of you. Keep going. Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to be doing, like, shows every week, but keep subscribe to me, Max. It's New York Jets for news, so YouTube subscribers. We're going to be talking free agency right now. It's way too early free agency predictions, but let's hope the Texans win, but can't wait. But Dobbs can be a good option, but there's a lot of good, like, offseason. It's, like, so early. We're going to have, like, all offseason to discuss it. There's always, like, new names that pop up. Like, apparently with I saw, like, a new mock trade earlier about, like, the Jets trying to get 57 years. It's also crazy. 57 years ago, the Jets won Super Bowl III, which is crazy. The Jets social media team didn't even do it. Let me yeah, Nate, you can be the moderator. I just have to figure out how to get a moderator on. Let me just show me how to do it. Then I'll get you as a moderator. And then another breaking Jets news. Jets signed quarterback Bailey Zappi to a future contract. But really, and then Jets signed 3, including ex-Chiefs wide receiver Mac DeLena. And then they also announced the wide receivers Mac DeLena and kicker Lenny Craig has been signed to reserve such future contracts. And then I haven't heard much about Lenny Craig, but Lenny Craig's like 6'2", 214. He was actually born in Germany. This is where my dad was born. Spent the 2025 season on Atlanta Falcons practice squad as part of the International Pathway Program. Craig has previously played for Berlin Adler of the German Football League and the Stuttgart Surge of the European League of Football. And then Bailey Zappi was initially selected by the Patriots in the 4th round. Played collegiately for the Western Kentucky, appeared in 14 games. But I don't know. I feel like Zappi on a future quarterback, I think he's going to be like quarterback 3 of the Jets. I guess really my thoughts on it. I think Zappi is going to be quarterback 3. But I think it's either we have to sign a veteran like Willis and then draft a quarterback this year for like some seeding / for development. Eli Betts in the chat says that tells me Tyrod's probably going to retire. I think he's going to retire, honestly. Like, look how many injuries Tyrod's gotten in the last couple games. Like, I feel like Tyrod's like so made of glass these days. I mean, he's always getting injured every year. Like, he's just terrible. Like, Tyrod is always getting bad injuries, and there's actually a proven fact that every time like Tyrod's getting injured, the next year the teams that found their franchise quarterback, Bills, he was a starter from 2015, 2017, 2018. The Bills drafted Josh Allen, and then with he got his lung puncture in 2020. And then Justin Herbert became a franchise quarterback. So I feel like with Tyrod, like every time he's like gets injured, there's always like paves the way for another franchise quarterback. So now with Dart and stuff, the next quarterback I guess franchise. So let's hope it keeps going with the Jets, but let's see. But we have all season to talk about. We have 3 months. We have 3 months till draft. We have 2 months till free agency. But in other sports news, you know what? The Mets, I don't know about the Cody Bellinger deal. Let's see Cody Bellinger. I feel like either can go the Dodgers or back to Mets. I feel like the Mets, in my opinion, they just sign all of like they love like ex-Yankees. They sign like any ex-Yankee. They sign Juan Soto to a 15-year, $765 million deal. They sign other like a lot of Mets players. So they fall in love with Mets players, but I don't know if they're gonna sign Bellinger. Like they have to pay a lot of players, or there's Aaron Judge. They have to pay Jazz Chisholm, Brian Volpe. They have the Yankees have a lot of good players, but let's hope they improve. Like their bullpen has to improve, and so Oscar the Grouch says Jameis Winston is a perfect bridge quarterback for us. I would trade 6 for him easily. I don't give a fuck that he's under contract for the Giants. Go tamper with him and get him to come to the other side of the pond. Agreed. I feel like Jameis could be a really good option for a backup quarterback or a mentor quarterback. He's shown like he could be a really good mentor quarterback under Jackson Dart. Like, look at Jackson Dart. Like, Jameis can be a very good like veteran, second, third string. He's like, look at his mic'd up moments. He was like very like professional, and he was like very good at like developing young quarterbacks. He's energetic. He's someone who I would like in the Jets locker room. That's just my opinion on it. Eli Betts in the chat says veteran quarterback, 4th round quarterback, Zappy, Cook. Those will be the quarterbacks on training camp starts. Yeah, I think the four quarterbacks I'm gonna have I think a veteran is gonna be here, whether it's Kirk Cousins, Malik Willis, and then what other quarterback we got, whether Pavia, Chambliss, Moore, Mendoza. I think Zappy could be the 3rd string, and then Cook's gonna be a 4th string, but I think he's gonna be cut. I think he's gonna be cut in the 2026 offseason, but really we're gonna do 53 man roster, but there's a lot of really good options. Let's see. What's the score of the Texans? Someone type in the chat. What's the score of the Texans Steelers game? What's the score right now? Oh, wow. Texans are still up. 34 seconds in the second quarter. Texans are up 7-6. I hope the Texans win this game, but let's see. Seven 6 seconds with the ball, about to kick a field goal. Yes, imagine they get this field goal. That would be like 10-6 seconds. Yeah, it'd be good. And they're going to go in the half. Let's hope the Texans win this game. Oscar the Grouch says Rodgers is going to go home sad today. Yeah, it could happen. I don't know. I feel like the Steelers, in my opinion, their offense, they're always like mediocre every year. It's like always 9-8, 10-7. But I do have respect for Tomlin, though. If he gets fired, I would like the Jets to fire him. Glad I got Tomlin. But I don't know what's likelihood Mike Tomlin gets fired. I mean, the Steelers always have like this called the standards. Like, they don't, the crazy fact is they've only had 3 coaches since 1969. They had Chuck Noll from like the 1969 to like 1991. And they have Bill Cowher from 1992 to 2006, and they had Mike Tomlin 2007 to present. So I feel like the Steelers don't really usually fire coaches, but I'll be shocked if he gets fired. What happened? You missed a wide open receiver? Who? Stroud or A-Rod? Let's see. Who missed a wide open receiver? Was it Stroud or Rodgers? I'm not watching the game. I'm live right now. Oh, Stroud. Yeah, Stroud missed it. That's crazy. But Stroud's been hasn't been the same. He's, ever since like, oh, he made those quarterback. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. He hasn't been the same since like he hasn't been as sensational as his rookie year. It was like, oh, when it was like, oh, I want to have the Eli Manning type of career instead of like the Rodgers type career. He's been downhill. But the Texans defense though is insane. Honestly, like their defense is really good. Just saying, like the Texans defense, they have like one of the top rated defenses in all the National Football League. Oscar the Grouch in the chat says, I would love Tomlin too, but the problem is, Max, we aren't even putting in calls to get Harbaugh. We wouldn't do it for Tomlin either. Just think they have their guy. You know why? Because Woody Johnson right now is probably getting the hugs. You know, Oscar, you just know the routine right now. Woody Johnson is probably giving another hug to Aaron Glenn. I mean, any owner, bro, if Aaron Glenn was, you know why he doesn't want to fire? Because Woody Johnson can't really separate coach from player. I mean, as a player, Aaron Glenn's good, but you know something I really appreciate about Robert Kraft? He separated coach and player. He realized Mayo wasn't the answer, and he got draw Mayo wasn't the answer, and he got a real coach from Vrabel. And look at the Patriots. They were worse than the Jets last year, and then they turned around, beat the Chargers in the wild card, won their first playoff game since 2019. So if Woody Johnson, if he was like a corner for the Broncos, like I think most owners would fire Glenn with this type of performance, honestly. I mean, granted, I just don't, like, even Jake says this, even I would say this, the Jets job is just not for first timers. Like, the New York media is crazy. Like, their media expectations in New York are really like crazy. But I feel like, but I don't know, with Woody Johnson, I just don't understand why he's not trying to get Mike Tomlin or John Harbaugh on the market. I just don't understand. Oscar Grant says, oh, they're hugging up right now, 100%. Sure, but really the hug is at 8:35 a.m. in the morning. This is probably Woody Johnson right now. Oh, let's see. Oh, thinking is overrated. Let me just give Aaron Glenn another hug. Eli Betts in the chat says, Max, who do you think is making it to Super Bowl, and how far away do you think the Jets are? My Super Bowl prediction is Seahawks, Bills, and I have the Seahawks winning. The Seahawks have the best defense in the National Football League. I've defended Darnold for years. I never thought he was that bad of a quarterback. Gase just ruined him as a coach. I think Darnold's been good the last 2 years. So the Seahawks offense is good under Kubiak, and then their defense is good. And how far away the Jets are? Very far away. We haven't made the playoffs in the last 15 years. I mean, I don't think we're gonna make the playoffs next year. I mean, let's see how it is. I mean, the Jets tickets are cheap right now, but like, look. Do you think we're even going to make the playoffs next year? We have a very hard schedule. We play the AFC West. Chargers are good next year. Chiefs are good. Chiefs always have Mahomes, but they can bounce back. I mean, it depends when we play the Chiefs, because if we play them early in the season, maybe Mahomes is not back from his ACL tear. But if we play them later, it could happen. And then we play the Broncos. They're good. Their defense is really good. And then maybe the Raiders will beat. And then we play the NFC North. I mean, I don't think we're going to beat the Lions. The Lions are that good. The Bears we're not going to beat. We're not going to beat the Vikings. We might beat the Vikings. I don't know. JJ is not really that good. And then I don't think we're going to beat what's the other team? We're not going to beat the Packers. No way. And then we're not going to beat the Bills. We're not going to beat the Patriots. So I don't think we might have like 3 or 4 wins next year. That's my thing. We won't set the playoffs next year. Says we won't set the playoffs next year. If the Jets surprise me, if we have a good offseason, but let's see. But really, our schedule is really hard next year. But all that's like teams. Oscar the Ground says, as much as I would love to see the Jets make the playoffs, I just want to see them with a positive record for once. I want more wins and losses on a record. That shouldn't be too much ask. Agreed. I feel like every team in the NFL is like always can turn around easy, but the Jets just really can't. I feel like. I mean, we haven't won 7 games since 2019. The best year, I was a fan since 2016. So really, the best year I've seen was like 7-9. But really, we had 7-win seasons. We haven't had a 10-win. We haven't had a winning record since 2015. So it's not hard to have Jets have more wins and losses. That's just true. Max, if you give Glenn, I would not give Glenn a hug. I wouldn't even cup his butt hugs, honestly. No, I wouldn't. So New York Jets is 21 says, so why even play the games? I'm not saying we're not going to win games. I think we're winning like 4 or 5 games, but this is my way too early predictions. But let's see in the offseason. But I want to be realistic with the amount of wins. Like every year, I used to say like, "Oh, Jets can make the Super Bowl playoffs." I mean, I want to be realistic. I think with this talent, with the coaching, if we win more than 5 games, I'll be happy. But really, I feel like way too early. Like the schedule doesn't look good with coaching. Like look at the top coaches we play next year. We play a lot of like all the new coaches, and it's crazy stat. Like all the top 6 picks in the draft have like their coach. They are gonna have completely new coaching staffs except us because. But if any owners owning a team, Oscar in the garage in chat says Max, there's some teams where if they don't make the Super Bowl or the playoffs, it's a bust or of a year. With the Jets, we're begging them to get more than 7 wins. It's pathetic. So true because like a lot, like if you all these journalists like the national sports takes, media takes, oh my god, it's crazy. Like the Jets, like journalists for other teams, they get to see playoff games stuff. All the journalists here, oh, they just see the off-season stuff and then they don't cover the playoffs. So it's very different, especially the journalists and stuff and the media guys who cover the Jets. It's great because there's always like 17, 18 games because like, oh, it's just a preseason and they just cover the regular season. They're never guaranteed the playoffs because we haven't made in the last 15 years. I mean, the Giants, yeah, granted, the Giants have been crap the last like 10 years, but they've accidentally made the playoffs like 2 years in 2016 and 2022. So it's very like our standards so low, and like everyone's like in the media is like, oh, the Jets fans like, oh, it takes 5-6 years to turn around, and it's just not true. Like that's what the Jets think. Oh, they have to turn around 5 years. It's a rebuild takes 5 years. It doesn't. A rebuild takes maybe a year or two. Like especially in the modern NFL. Like in the past, okay, it takes 5 years to rebuild, but really in the modern NFL landscape, it only takes like a year or two to turn around. Look at the Commanders; they've been terrible for years. And all of a sudden, when Jane Daniels came, they made the playoffs in 2024. Granted, 2025 this year, they didn't make the playoffs, but they had a ton of injuries. Look at the Bears; they've been crappy for years. They were crap for years. They were the longest. They haven't won a playoff game in 15 years, and then they just beat the Packers like 34-31. The last time the Bears beat the Packers in the playoffs was before the Pearl Harbor was bombed. So, and then. Look at the Jags. Granted, they made the playoffs in 2022, but they weren't good. They won 4 games last year, but under Doug Peterson. But now with Liam Cohen, they won 13 games. So, and they really played close against the Bills. You know, the Jacksonville reporters, like, I really think she was good. I mean, I just worry about people like, oh, it's on the news report job. I mean, I think you should be more positive than that. I mean, granted, I don't want my journalists, like, especially if I'm covering a team, I don't want the journalists to be all negative and just all negative. Like be a little positive. Granted, like you should still ask questions. Granted, you should still question like strategy and stuff and coaches, but you shouldn't be all negative. You should be a little positive. I think being neutral is more like if I was a journalist, like I mean, I'm in sports communication at college. Like if I was a journalist, like if I'm ever like aspiring to be a journalist, I'll be like staying neutral. I'll still be positive, but I'll still be questioning the results and stuff, but I'll make sure to keep it like positive and stuff. Eli Betts in the chat says, Max, what is the most amount you want to pay for Jets? Any price, but let's see. I mean, I'll pay as much money as I want. Like, I'll maybe pay like $1,300 for the Jets for a ticket to the Super Bowl. If the Jets were ever in it, but let's see. Let's see, Eli Best. Let's see in the chat. But really, what's it right now? What's the score of the game? What's the score of the game? Oh, it's still 7-6. Still 7-6 in the chat. So. But really, let's see. But it's getting late, guys. So thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Max's New York Jets 8572. Thank you so much for having me on. And go Jets. 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 Subscribe to me, Max's New York Jets 8572. Have a good day, everyone.